welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Well, the continuing Parliament logjam in the winter session is our top focus. Now, President Pranab Mukherjee today expressed a strong displeasure. He said that disruptions are totally unacceptable. He told MPs, do your job. Well, this is our top focus. This and much more in this bulletin in the next half an hour. Let us begin with the headlines. President Pranab Mukherjee frowns upon disruptions in both houses of Parliament, called the frequent protests unacceptable. Says parliamentary freedom should not be misused by causing disruptions. Rajya Sabha witnesses adjournments on demonetization. Opposition targets government over the alleged deaths caused by the hardships unleashed by the move. Lok Sabha also witnesses similar scenes. On the 30th day of the demonetization exercise, Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls it a yagna against the evil of corruption, insists that this short-term pain will pave a way for long-term gains. And Allahabad High Court criticizes practice of triple talaq, calls it cruel and demeaning. Political leaders welcome the order. All India Muslim Personal Law Board says the verdict is against Sharia laws. Well, our top story with the Parliament logjam entering the third week and no signs of a breakthrough in sight. Now, President Pranab Mukherjee today came down heavily on the parliamentarians. Well, the President said that daily disruption of Parliament is not acceptable at all, directing MPs to do their job of transacting legislative business.
For God's sake, do your job. You are meant to transact business. You are meant to devote your time for exercising the authorities of the members, particularly of Lok Sabha members, over money and finance.
President Pranab Mukherjee's strong rebuke aimed at parliamentarians on Thursday, as repeated disruptions and adjournments threaten a near washout of the winter session. Addressing a seminar on electoral reforms for a stronger democracy, the President said parliamentary freedom should not be misused by causing disruptions, adding that daily disruption of Parliament is not acceptable at all.
Disruption is totally unacceptable in the parliamentary system. People send the representatives to speak, not to sit in dharna or not to create any trouble on the floor. For that, streets are still available. Only few weeks in a year, parliaments are in session. For demonstration, you can choose any other places.
President Mukherjee also paged for the passage of the Women's Reservation Bill in Lok Sabha that is pending since long.
Our population is almost 50%, little less than that. But representation is abysmally low. It is totally unacceptable. And the experiences of 16 Lok Sabha elections, it has been seen, whatever be the reasons, political parties are not magnanimous enough to give adequate number of representations to the women in the parliament.
The ongoing winter session of Parliament has been hit by protests and adjournments, with the united opposition aggressively taking on the government on demonetization. Opposition parties have been demanding a debate on the issue under a rule that entails voting and in the presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. They are also seeking an apology from the Prime Minister for accusing opposition parties of supporting black money. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, a united opposition sought to corner the government in the upper house on Thursday on the issue of demonetization. Well, the opposition parties insisted on condoling the loss of lives allegedly due to the withdrawal of high-value currency notes. The government, however, slammed the opposition for causing obstruction and pressed for a discussion. The standoff led to several adjournments through the day.
The opposition continued its tirade against the government over the demonetization issue on Thursday, 1 month after the decision was first announced. Upping the ante against the government, leader of opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad alleged that more than 100 people have died due to the ill-conceived decision and demanded that an obituary reference be made for them.
उन 100 से ज्यादा लोगों को जो सरकार की गलत नीति की वजह से, नोटबंदी की वजह से किसी की शादी नहीं हो पाई, किसी की बेटी की शादी नहीं हो पाई, किसी को दवाई नहीं मिल पाया, कोई हॉस्पिटल नहीं दाखिला कर पाया, ट्रेजरी बेंचेस नहीं थे, उनको श्रद्धांजलि हमने बाहर पार्लियामेंट के बाहर दे दी। ये शर्म की बात है इस सरकार के लिए।
The TMC and the BSP also joined ranks in condemning the government's decision.
More than 100 people have died in the queue. And we are, sir, one second, please.
Let the discussion start.
About the dead people.
How can it be?
No, sir, we are talking about the dead people.
Yeah,
do you have a zero-hour
mention? Talking of the poor people who are benefited by this government decision, historic decision of the government.
Dead should be mourned. Sir, dead should be mourned.
All right.
Not to be objected.
Okay, fine.
ये पहली बार देख रहे हैं कि काले धन के मुद्दे पर हम चाहते हैं चर्चा करना, डिस्कशन कर नहीं रहे, काले धन के गुलेरों की कंगाली पर।
Refuting all the claims, the government urged the opposition to resume the discussion on demonetization.
The chair should take it very seriously.
What is this?
They are coming here in front of me.
What is this? Honorable Minister.
They are not allowing me, the government to speak.
Amid sharp verbal duels between the Treasury and the opposition benches, 0 hour and question hour were washed away. Even in the post-lunch session, the protests remained unabated. With no visible respite, the chair adjourned the House till Friday.
House stands adjourned till...
With inputs from Vishal Dhaya, Kriti Mishra, Rajya Sabha TV.
And also in Lok Sabha, no legislative business could be transacted even on Thursday, while opposition parties continued with their demand for a discussion on demonetization under Rule 184, which entails voting. The government, however, maintained that it is ready for a debate only under Rule 193. Now, with neither side budging, protests continued in the House, forcing repeated adjournments.
Proceedings in the Lok Sabha were disrupted for the 15th consecutive day on Thursday, as opposition parties continued to demand a debate on demonetization under a rule that entails voting. Amid the din, the Parliamentary Affairs Minister reiterated that the government was ready for a discussion under Rule 193.
Once again, I am through you appealing the Congress, Trinamool and other opposition parties that if they want to start the discussion on remonetization under 193 as moved by our TRS Honorable Member Jitendra Reddy, we are ready. But unfortunately, they have not supported the supplementary demand for grants also, the appropriation bill also. We expected that they will be debating on these two important bills, which concerns everybody. But at the same time, they are running away from the debate. They are not participating in the debate. They are not participating in the crusade against the black money and corruption. We are ready, even now also if we are ready.
The Congress and other opposition parties, however, insisted on a discussion under Rule 184 that entails division.
हम डिस्कशन से भागने वाले नहीं हैं।
बहुत दिन हो गए
Rule 184 में।
As the din continued, Speaker Sumitra Mahajan warned of strict action against those disturbing any member called to speak by the chair.
हाउस तो डिस्टर्ब आप कर ही रहे हो अपना अधिकार मान के, लेकिन जब कोई सदस्य बोलता है उस सदस्य का भी उतना ही अधिकार है, वो भी चुना हुआ जनप्रतिनिधि है और इसलिए किसी सदस्य के सामने आकर के उसको डिस्टर्ब करना ये कदापि उचित नहीं है। ये यहाँ पे हो रहा है। मैं चाहूँगी आगे आप इस बात को थोड़ा सा ध्यान में रखो ताकि हमें कोई कड़ा कदम नहीं उठाना पड़े।
With protesting members refusing to relent, the Speaker adjourned the House for the day. With inputs from Pranav Goswami and Ravindra Sharan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, while this entire conundrum goes on in Parliament, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today marked 1 month of his notes ban with a series of tweets. Now, thanking people for participating in what he called the Yagna against corruption, terrorism and black money, the Prime Minister reiterated that a short-term pain will pave the way for long-term gains. Amid the opposition protests against demonetization in Parliament, Prime Minister Narendra Modi took to Twitter on Thursday to talk about the decision. Modi referenced the gains from demonetization and saluted those supporting what he called the yagna of demonetization. The Prime Minister said the short-term pain from the exercise will give way for long-term gains. He said demonetization will mean that the progress and prosperity of rural India would no longer be curtailed by corruption. PM Modi also appealed to the youth while insisting that the country now has a historic opportunity to move towards a cashless economy. The Prime Minister insisted that the measures will empower the poor and the middle class, besides benefiting future generations. The Prime Minister's tweets on the issue come on the 30th day of demonetization exercise that has triggered hardships for many people, especially the rural economy that is largely dependent on cash transactions. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today addressed a press conference at as his government's demonetization exercise completed a month today. While outlining the steps taken by the government to readdress the hardships faced by people, Jaitley announced a slew of measures to popularize a cashless economy. Some of these measures include petrol and diesel being made cheaper by 0.75% for people using digital wallets. Also, 0.5% discount on suburban railway tickets for users of digital wallets. Also, NABARD giving RuPay cards to people who have Kisan credit cards. Let's listen in.
जहां तक संभव हो, अर्थव्यवस्था का, इकोनॉमी का जो कैश ट्रांजैक्शन है वो कम हो और उसके सब्स्टिट्यूशन में डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शंस आगे बढ़े। कैश के साथ डील करना इसके इकोनॉमिक कॉस्ट भी हैं और पूरे डेमोक्रेटिक सिस्टम में भी इसका एक कॉस्ट है जो इनबिल्ट है। कुछ कॉस्ट अपेरेंट है, कुछ इनबिल्ट है और इसलिए सरकार प्रयास करती रही है और बैंकिंग व्यवस्था भी प्रयास करती रही है कि क्रेडिट कार्ड्स, डेबिट कार्ड्स, ई वॉलेट्स और जितने भी ऑल्टरनेटिव मेथड्स ऑफ डिजिटल करेंसी हैं उनको इनकरेज किया जाए और बहुत बड़े पैमाने में इस एक महीने में ये स्विच ओवर होता हुआ दिख रहा है।
Well, neither the aggressive opposition nor the government has budged an inch in the standoff over the notes ban inside Parliament. The NDA government's decision is 1 month old today. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had announced demonetization on 8th of November and the opposition has attacked the government ever since. Now, to mark the 1 month mark, the opposition observed a black day on Thursday, alleging that poor implementation led to a severe cash crunch, causing immense hardships to people, especially the poor.
Opposition lawmakers vote black bans as a mark of protest to mark 1 month of the government's ban on 500 and 1,000 rupee notes. Opposition parties observed a black day by staging a protest near Mahatma Gandhi's statue inside the parliament premises. The protest was led by Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi and leaders of Trinamool Congress, Janata Dal United, Samajwadi Party, Bahujan Samaj Party, the left parties and the Rashtriya Janata Dal joined in.
नुकसान किसका हुआ? किसान का, मजदूर का, गरीब का, मच्छीमार का, जो कैश की इकोनॉमी का प्रयोग करते हैं। काले धन वाले सब भाग गए। लाइन में आपको एक अमीर व्यक्ति नहीं दिखाई दिया, सबके सब भाग गए। उन्होंने सब अपना पैसा बदल दिया और कुल्हाड़ी जाके लगी गरीबों पे। हाउस को चलाने की जिम्मेदारी सरकार की और स्पीकर की है, ऑपोजिशन की नहीं है। हम चाहते हैं कि इस पे वोट हो, क्योंकि हम जानते हैं कि अगर वोट होगा तो बीजेपी के अंदर से लोग वोट करेंगे हमारे पक्ष में, इसलिए हम वोट चाहते हैं। हम चाहते हैं कि प्रधानमंत्री जी अंदर आके बात करें।
In response, the government called the protest an insult to Mahatma Gandhi. Senior Union Minister Venkaiah Naidu described November 8th as a red-letter day, a historic day, and said those who were protesting were celebrating Black Money Supporting Day.
Opponents, particularly Congress Party, I'm told, is observing today as a काला दिवस। मैं कहता हूं ये काला धन के समर्थन दिवस है। कांग्रेस वाले जो मना रहे वो काला धन समर्थन दिवस।
The opposition and the government have been at loggerheads both inside and outside Parliament since the decision was announced by the Prime Minister a month ago. The opposition continues to demand for a discussion with a vote and that the Prime Minister be present and explain the notes ban. The government has offered debate but says there will be no vote. With inputs from Navikram Singh, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, while parliamentarians bicker over how and under which rule a debate on demonetization ought to happen inside Parliament, the common man continues to struggle due to a cash crunch and long queues in front of banks and ATMs are seen. Meanwhile, in an attempt to promote cashless payment, the government has waived a service tax on debit and credit cards transactions of up to 2,000 rupees.
Exactly a month after the decision, the common man continues to reel under the severe cash crunch triggered by the demonetization. ATMs are running dry, even as banks struggle to arrange cash to meet the needs of the citizens. Above all, standing in long queues in front of the banks and the ATMs has become a physical and mental ordeal. The situation is grimmer in rural areas where many villages are unbanked.
तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं है क्योंकि बाकी जगह स्वाइप मशीन यूज़ हो जा रही है, लेकिन जो किराया देना है, रेंट देना है, तो मकान मालिक काफ़ी प्रॉब्लम क्रिएट कर रहे हैं क्योंकि वो लोग कैश ले नहीं रहे हैं किसी भी तरीके से, मतलब कैश ही ले रहे हैं सॉरी। और तो डेली यहाँ पे 15,000 हम लोग का रेंट है, तो आकर के डेली 4 से 5 घंटे लाइन में लगो और डेली एग्जाम्स हैं हम लोग के और क्लासेस हैं, तो फिर बहुत मुश्किल हो रही है इस चीज़ को मैनेज करने में।
इतना हिसाब से निकल रहा है कि 1-2 दिन में खर्चा हो जा रहा है, फिर लाइन में आ जा रहा है। जो है इसमें कुछ सुधार होना चाहिए। जो है
बहुत परेशान है, इस वजह से नहीं, बहुत ज़्यादा ही परेशान है। घर का काम नहीं कर पाते, बैंक का काम होता रहता है, पहुँचते पहुँचते कैश खत्म हो जाता है, वापस चले जाओ।
Holding protests against the note ban, the opposition hit out at the centre. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal once again targeted the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the issue.
एक नया पैसा अभी तक काले धन का नहीं आया और मोदी जी ने कहा 50 दिन दे दो, 30 दिन तो पूरे हो गए, तो 30 दिन में कुछ नहीं हुआ तो 20 दिन में और क्या हो जाएगा।
West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee blamed the Prime Minister while alleging that 90 people had lost their lives due to demonetization.
He has to take the responsibility. How he misled this country without any planning and proper infrastructure, even not availability of the currency. He must take the responsibility, he must clarify to the nation and people of this country. India is the largest democratic country.
In Mumbai, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu-led panel held its first formal meeting at the RBI headquarters to discuss a whole range of issues related to the notes ban. Meanwhile, in a bid to promote digital transactions, the government reportedly decided to waive off service tax on debit and credit card transactions of up to 2,000 rupees. A notification to this effect will be tabled by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. With Anu Devan, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And in news tonight, we'll take a very short break. Up next, we have all the details on Allahabad High Court judgment on triple talaq. Stay with us for that and much more.
ISRO's great strength is system management. For that, Professor Dhawan made me a scientific secretary ISRO. In fact, for our Vision 2020, one I think Indian Express has something I described one line, saying that we look ahead, but you have to look how you go. We have not liberated education. Liberated as we did for industry.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Y.S. Rajan, Honorary Distinguished Professor ISRO, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back after the break. Well, Allahabad High Court today came down heavily on the practice of a triple talaq, stating that a divorce by saying talaq 3 times is cruel and most demeaning. Well, the Allahabad High Court order echoes the stand taken by the central government in the Supreme Court recently. Well, the court made the observations while dismissing the petition of 23-year-old Hina and her 53-year-old husband who divorced his wife to marry her. In a major boost to women's rights, the Allahabad High Court on Thursday declared triple talaq unconstitutional, stating that no personal law board was above the constitution. Coming down heavily on the practice of triple talaq, the court said this form of instant divorce was cruel and demeaning, while holding that it violated rights of Muslim women. The court also said the view that the Muslim husband enjoys an arbitrary unilateral power to inflict instant divorce doesn't tie in with Islamic laws.
I welcome the pronouncement by the Allahabad High Court today. It's true that triple talaq is not Quranic. It's true that triple talaq is not constitutional. And it's true that triple talaq must be abolished from our country.
ये इंसाफ एक बहुत बड़ा पैगाम जाएगा कि हमारी अदालत हमारे कुरान शरीफ के कानून के अनुसार और भारतीय संविधान के अनुसार हम लोगों को इंसाफ दे रही है और इस्लाम का कानून भी कभी भी अनजस्टिस गैर इंसाफी नाइंसाफी नहीं बर्दाश्त करता है.
In October, the government told the Supreme Court that triple talaq violated the fundamental rights guaranteed by the Constitution. It also said that it did not form a part of the essential religious practices in Islam. The government and other political parties welcomed the court's decision.
मैं हर्ष महसूस कर रहा हूँ इलाहाबाद हाई कोर्ट का जजमेंट आप लोग जिक्र कर रहे हैं उससे मैं संतुष्ट हूँ. कारण है देश में महिलाओं के साथ न्याय होना चाहिए, ये सबका मत है और उसमें भेदभाव नहीं होना चाहिए.
The time has come. It's an idea that's come of age now. It's something that has been making the rounds and murmurs from a long time. I'm just happy that my Muslim sisters have a little more security, a little more dignity to their lives.
ये जो बात है ऐतिहासिक फैसला है और ये देश में हमारी जो मुस्लिम माताएं हमारी बहनें हैं अब तक जिस अमानुषता और क्रूरता से वो जूझ रही थी जिंदगी उनकी, बस उनके लिए जिंदगी का एक बहुत बड़ा आशा का किरण है.
एक अच्छा फैसला है जिसका स्वागत पूरे समाज को करना चाहिए और सियासत से ऊपर उठ के समाज और देश के हित में फैसला है.
इस्लामिक कानून नहीं गलत व्याख्या कर रहा है, कुछ इस्लामिक जो विद्वान हैं वो इसकी व्याख्या गलत कर रहे हैं.
The All India Muslim Personal Law Board, however, criticized the court's order, stating that it was against Sharia laws that cannot be modified by any court.
And as far as the law of triple talaq is being said to be unconstitutional is concerned, I think that the constitution of our country has given us the right to profess and practice our religion, and Muslim personal law and the law of triple talaq are very much the integral part of our religion.
Triple talaq, a practice sanctioned under Muslim personal law that governs marriage, property and divorce, is one of India's most contentious religious issues. It has already been taken to the Supreme Court by several women. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. News from Jammu and Kashmir now. Well, 3 Lashkar-e-Toiba terrorists were killed in an encounter in Arwani area of Jammu and Kashmir's Anantnag district on Thursday. Well, the combing operation is currently underway. Now, fresh exchange of fire started between terrorists and security forces in Anantnag district in the early morning, while mobile phone and internet services were suspended in South Kashmir's Anantnag district as the gunfire raged. Earlier in the day, the railway authorities suspended train services from Budgam, Banihal due to the encounter. Now, clashes between stone-pelting protesters and security forces also erupted at various other places in south of Kashmir. And for more news from across the nation, let's go nationwide. Thick fog engulfed the national capital on Thursday morning, leading to cancellation of 2 train services, while 94 others were running behind schedule by several hours due to poor visibility. Flight operations at the international airport were not affected, however. Foggy weather conditions are a result of easterly winds, resulting in the increase of moisture levels. The centre has issued a notification saying that 15 new castes have been included in the central list of other backward classes. These 15 castes were out of the 28 changes recommended by the National Commission for Backward Classes. Last month, the Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi had approved the proposal of NCBC. A divisional bench of the Kerala High Court on a Thursday ordered that women should not be allowed to wear salwar kameez and churidar inside the Sri Padmanabha Swami temple. The order also states that the decision of the chief priest is final and the temple board does not have any authority to make the rules. Home Minister Rajnath Singh has said all tourists at the Havelock Island in the Andamans who are struck due to cyclonic conditions are safe and efforts are on for their early evacuation. Singh called up Lieutenant Governor of Andaman and Nicobar Islands Jagdish Mukhi and inquired about the status of the stranded tourists. On to some cricket news now. Well, England ended the first day of the fourth test on 288 for 5 in Mumbai on a fluctuating day of test cricket. Well, opting to bat first, England threatened to run away with the match with the opening pair scoring 99 runs for the first wicket. Now, debutant Keaton Jennings then scored a century as the visitors went into tea at a strong 196 for 2. However, in the final session, R. Ashwin brought India roaring back into the match with the 2 quick wickets, including that of the Centurion Keaton on 112. The spinner then claimed one more to finish the day with 4 wickets for 75 runs. At stumps, Ben Stokes and Joss Butler were at the crease with a 39-run 6th wicket partnership. More sporting action in Sports Beat. Indian juniors men's hockey team started their World Cup campaign off to a winning start with a 4-0 drubbing of Canada. Harmanpreet Mandeep, Varun Kumar and Ajit Pandey scored the goals for the host nation. India will next face England in their next match. Reigning national champion Saurav Kothari stunned 10-time world champion Pankaj Advani in the quarterfinals of the World Billiards Championship in long upper format in Bangalore. At one point, Saurav was trailing 256 against Advani's 352, but the national champion posted a break of 181 in his 18th visit to race past Advani before prevailing 1,000 to 644 in his 38th visit. Borussia Dortmund set a new Champions League scoring record in a 2-2 draw against Real Madrid on Wednesday. Now, coming from 0-2 down, Dortmund scored in second half to take their tally to 21 goals in group campaign, the most for any team in a group stage in the history of the tournament. Meanwhile, FC Porto and Sevilla claimed 2 remaining last 16 spots. FIFA President Gianni Infantino said a proposal to expand the World Cup finals to 48 teams with 16 groups of 3 teams received enthusiastic backing at a meeting of the national federations. A select meeting of the national federations from Asia, Europe and Oceania met with Infantino and welcomed the change from the current 8-group, 32-team event. Let's get to some international news now in Global Buzz. The United States has hit out at Pakistan for providing safe havens to terrorists. The US Defense Secretary Ashton Carter asserted that the country needs to make a historic shift to stop providing safe havens to those who destabilize Afghanistan and also terrorist groups, including those that target India. His remarks came days after India and Afghanistan lashed out at Pakistan at the Heart of Asia conference for sponsoring and supporting terrorism. South Korea's parliament has introduced a bill to impeach President Park Geun-hye. Now, this has set a stage for a historic vote to oust her. Now, parliament is expected to vote on Friday in favor of impeachment. If impeached, the country's constitutional court will have 180 days to determine whether to formally end Park's presidency. The scandal centers on one of Park's confidants who allegedly extorted donations from the country's business conglomerates. Israeli forces in the occupied West Bank shot and killed a Palestinian who ran towards them brandishing a knife. The latest development comes after a significant ebb in near daily Palestinian street attacks that began in October 2015. 33 Israelis and 2 US citizens were killed in knife, car ramming and gun assaults during this period. Well, that's all in this edition of news. Thanks for watching. Good night.